Well, got the tractor back, so time to do a little work here. Get this thing unloaded. Oh, I should probably take the pin off so I don't just drive off the back without tilt deck. Done that a time or two. Get this thing washed and greased up tomorrow before it goes back to building the cabin. But we got some work to do with it before we send her back. Surely throw the mower on, get this whole thing mowed, clean up the trails a little bit here while grass can still grow back. If I wait until fall to do it, then it just gets ripped up and stays muddy all fall. So I like to run the landscape raker on those, see if I can grade them up a little bit. And you can see here all this manure. Our manure pile is actually off to the right over here. This is all this grass growing in. That's all the manure pile. But my wife's been just been dumping on the ground, building her up here for all summer because the tractor's been gone. Getting pretty solid. I take the chainsaw out here, cut that tree off to the right. So I can start pushing from the side like I wanted to. Ooh, a little bit of a hole there. She's filled this thing up a lot more than I thought she has. See, what I'd really like to do is take all this, and I mean, ideally, I don't have the money to do it, but what I'd love to do is get a tub grinder out here and take all this manure that I got up in this pile, run it through a tub grinder, and then mix in a few buckets of clay, a few buckets of sand as you're going through it, and then run it through a screener. Oh man, that would be the nicest black dirt you've ever seen. I mean, you can just tell by the grass on this pile here, we've done nothing but just put old hay and manure up on it, and it's growing like crazy. I mean, look at it. You can't even tell that it's a manure pile. It's just all grass. So if you were to grind this up a little bit, well, I bet you could sell this for 50 to 60 bucks a yard easy. Beautiful screened, fertilized black dirt. Man, that'd be nice stuff. It's actually working out all right here because it's making it pretty flat, which I'd like to dig down and get all of it, but at the same time, maybe I'll just bring a couple of buckets of sand or clay over here and cap it. Because this whole area in here really does need to get built up, so it's a low spot. Not a lot of it congregates there in the spring. I doubt I can move this tree, but let's try it, because I'd really like to start dumping from this backside here. I think it's still connected to the stump, but it's not getting the saw over. I don't think it's moving. Yeah. Not a chance. Not a chance. Try pushing the stump over, but I don't think that's going to do anything either. Thing is pretty damn solid still. I need to get a saw over here. Oh, pop something there. Half of it. Oh, she ain't coming. Get the saw out tomorrow and get that cleaned up. It is unreal how much manure we're stacking up over here. I gotta find a better spot for this pile, but that's a job for another year. See, the nice thing is she can just pull in with the four-wheeler. She's got a little cart pulls behind the four-wheeler. And she can just pull straight through. and dump and keep going. Don't turn it around with the cart or anything. This is a good time to do this. It's nice and dry back here right now. Yeah, tub grinder with the topsoil. Yeah, we kind of did Dad and I kind of did a little something with it where we've got a rototiller that goes behind the tractor, so we actually dug a little hole and dumped some in there and then mixed it up with the rototiller, and that worked really, really good. The only problem is you can't really do that much at a time, which if we were just using this for ourselves, no problem. You just go spread it out where you want it to go and then run the rototiller over it, mix it in, it's good to go. It'll grow up really nice. But I don't have room for 70 yards of horse manure, and it's worth some money, so might as well try to sell some. It's another reason I needed a grapple bucket for this thing. All this old hay back here, just to be able to grab it and go dump it on the fire pit. I actually had to come back in here this spring and take the excavator and bale that whole pile back. It actually goes about 20 feet back that way, back towards the back of the pile, and I flattened it out quite a bit. The amount of manure that's actually in here is probably more like 100 yards by the time you get down to the bottom of everything. So like I said, you can see here, this isn't clay or down to the floor. This is still definitely manure. She just built up a pad over the summer since I haven't had the tractor around to scoop it up and push it out. Which isn't bad, but the only problem is that when it gets wet, you know, it's not a good granular bottom or anything, so if it gets wet and you kind of rip it up, it just turns into a slimy, mucky spot. Which, no big deal when you're just running a four-wheeler around, but still, you'd like it to be a little more cleaned up than that. This whole pile here is all topsoil too, which frankly probably never going to do anything with either. You should just sell it. Another hay pile I gotta move. It gets put there in the winter. So what happens is we get all the snow, and then we just, it's that hay that falls out of the bale on the round bale, and it goes underneath. And then I just drag it out with the box blade on the back of the tractor, and then just push it up with the snow there, and it kind of starts to accumulate. Widen this trail out a little bit here too. This tree off to the left, it's just in the right spot where can't necessarily make the full turn sometimes. Like in the winter when it's plowed, just a foot of snow on either side. It'd just be way nicer to have a nice big flat dump spot, or open dump spot I should say, and then just process it and sell it every year. I mean, if you could get, call it $50 a yard for this stuff, let's say there's 100 yards here, I mean, you're looking at $5,000. By the time you mix in everything else, you're looking at 200 yards, you get 10 grand for it. I mean, that covers the horse's feed and then some every year. So, but I suppose by the time you factor in equipment wear and tear and the cost of fuel, you know, it probably leaves you $1,000 profit at the end, maybe a couple. Basically want to buy the same tractor that my dad has, just a little bigger motor. Problem is, finding one with a cab used is kind of tough, and if you try and buy new with a cab, they're like $45,000, $50,000, and I just don't have that kind of coin to spend right now, so probably end up buying one without a cab, which, yeah, it's not as nice, but can do all the work you need to do still, so. If you're just using the machine around your property for miscellaneous work, you're not actually, you know, like this isn't a real farm. you're not out there running in the fields all the time, haying all day or plowing and whatnot, I would definitely recommend getting a hydrostatic transmission if you're looking. It's just so nice for this short back and forth. You're not trying to switch between, you know, forward and reverse gears. But if you're doing something where you're a real farmer, I mean, you already know this, if you're a real farmer, but you're probably going to want mechanical gear for a lot of reasons. But just for using it as more of a land tractor, definitely recommend the hydrostatic. Let's see if we can't drop the box blade. Scrape some manure and run her out into the field a little bit here. Couple of dead spots out here. I wouldn't mind getting a little material on, a little manure to fertilize them. Because we stripped a lot of this field. Originally we were going to put a pasture out here, not a pasture, an arena, and ended up not doing that just because there was a lot of reasons, but a couple areas in here where there was sand that never really grew great to begin with. We'll just drop some out there, maybe run through it with the landscape rake once we put that on the back of the machine, spread it out a little, and then I'm going to put on a big mower to mow everything around here. We'll just let the mower kind of clean her up or spread her around a little, mix her in. And I'm not trying to pretend that I'm going to be a golf course style lawn here, so we're not too concerned with doing it 100% right. Just something where if you do a little bit of it here and there over the course of a year or two, all of a sudden it's pretty nice fertilized soil and it'll grow some decent grass. So I really love to do is buy some of the property that's adjacent to me one of these days and eventually open it up where I could make all of our own hay ourselves. So right now we gotta buy all of our hay. So it'd be really nice one day if we could do it ourselves. But need a lot more open field than we got to do that. think what we're going to try and do here, just find my gloves first of all. Then we're going to drop a couple of those scarifier blades, see if we can't rip this up a little bit, and then just try and grade it out. It's the perfect time of year to do it. It's got time to set back up before the winter. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work. But we're gonna give it a shot. Probably gonna catch a bunch of ruts, but that's all right. Man, I'm just dropping everything tonight. Alright, let's see if we can do some damage. Like I said, I'm sure we're gonna hit a bunch of ruts. It's just a matter of if we can rip through them or if they're gonna stop us in our tracks. My guess is they're gonna stop us in our tracks. Hopefully I just don't put my head through the windshield. That's a big thing. I've already gotten stopped in our tracks. Let's put her in low. Oh yeah. They're ripping roots, alright. Okay, it doesn't look like it's too deep of topsoil here, which I wasn't guessing it was gonna be. Son of a bitch. Just popped a tire. Well, that wasn't fun. Flat tire. So, stopped this video last night after I heard the psh, which I initially thought was like a radiator hose or something, got a stick in it. Turns out it was the back tire. After inspecting the entire tire, thinking I popped a hole in it and was going to be out $500, $600, $700 to get a new rear tractor tire, found out that I just pulled the valve stem out with one of the sticks when I was running through with the Scarifier. So now I got to take this whole tractor tire off, get that off, break the bead on it so I can pull the old valve stem out. And I got to run to town and get a new valve stem. So it's about 6:30 in the morning on Saturday now, nice and rainy out. Loaded up the tools in the back of the side-by-side. I got to go get a floor jack out here so I can jack this thing up, get that off, get the 1/2-inch impact, so I can finish grading the trail like I wanted to originally. Which, if it wasn't already August, I wouldn't worry about the trail, but the problem is if I wait any longer, the trail won't set back up before the rains of the fall start coming, then it'll be muddy all fall and all spring. So, well, let's go find a floor jack and